Today, we're taking a ride on the airline that rules the Canadian Arctic. The airline in question, Canadian North, operates a fleet of Boeing 737s and ATRs, all working together to provide essential passenger and cargo service to the most isolated communities in the country. So, what are they actually like on board? The plan today is to take one of the Boeing 737-300 Classics from Edmonton up to Yellowknife, their largest hub, and a route that's a lifeline for both locals and workers. Some time ago, I covered Air Inuit, the regional airline serving the isolated communities in northern Quebec, so today we're going to see how Canadian North compares out west. So, how well do they utilize the 737 Classic on a high-density route like this? What's it like flying on the aircraft that's been the backbone of their operation for years? And how does this experience compare to all the other airlines serving remote northern Canada? Canadian North has been gradually transitioning to the newer Boeing 737-700 next gens, slowly phasing out the older -300s. So let's go take a ride on one of these classics while we still can. What's going on, guys? Casey Flower here. Will this 737 Classic be any different than any of the others I've covered on the channel? Or will the leading airline of the Canadian Arctic have something to them that'll stand out? Well, let's go check in and find out. Checking into a Canadian North flight online is pretty straightforward. After confirming that we aren't a safety hazard, we'll then select which passengers we're checking in. This is then led to getting another chance to change our seat, and just like that, check-in is done. I'll get the boarding pass sent to my email, and in that email, we can get it in the digital mobile wallet format, and that's what we'll be using to board here in a minute. Alright, we are in the boarding area to get on the Canadian North 737-300 up to Yellowknife. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed because I was kind of hoping to get the older Canadian North livery. That's the older branding with like the blue tail section and like the polar bear and the sun on the tail like that, the old branding. But it's not. It's the newer branding with all the red on it and the more modern branding, but it's whatever. It's a 737 Classic nonetheless. Now, this is a 737 Combi, which just means that it's a combination between a freighter and a passenger aircraft. So with the configuration it's in now, which I'm pretty sure is just the standard 737-300 Combi configuration, this one fits 3 larger cargo pallets in the front as the cargo section, and then 80 passenger seats in the back. And I'm pretty sure with Air Inuit, when I covered them on the 737-200 and 300 up in Quebec, theirs was around the same way, 3 cargo pallets and around 80 seats in the back. But yeah, in the meantime, we have about 10 minutes left until we start boarding, and I already got my morning Tim Hortons before I left the hotel, so that's all good. A vanilla cold brew and 2 Canadian maples. So let's go ahead and get on the ramp and board through the rear cabin door since this is a Combi. So I'll catch you guys when we get to the seat. The 27-year-old Charlie Golf Zulu Charlie November will be the ride up to Yellowknife this afternoon. She was delivered to GoFly in April of 1999 as Golf India Golf Oscar Kilo, EasyJet in July of 2002, also as Golf India Golf Oscar Kilo, Thompson in April of 2006 as Golf Tango Hotel Oscar Lima, followed by BMI Baby in April of 2011 as Golf Tango Oscar Yankee Lima, and then it finally got to Canadian North, where she is now, as Charlie Golf Kilo Foxtrot Papa in September of 2013, and then, last but not least, it switched to the tail number that it is now in January of 2015. Charlie Golf Zulu Charlie November. Shout out to planespotters.net for the operator history.
Morning, how are you?
Since this was a Combi with the cargo section in the front, we boarded the aircraft from the rear, so I made my quick walk up to seat 15F. The economy seats on the 80-seat 737 Combi have a width of 17 inches, a pitch of 32 inches for legroom, which is just 1 point on my seat to the same point of the seat in front of me, and a recline of 3. Alright, welcome aboard the Canadian North 737 Classic up to Yellowknife. First impressions on the seat so far, to not much surprise. It ain't much, no in-seat power, not to be expected, no Wi-Fi, and definitely no backseat monitor. So really the only entertainment amenity we have is a magazine in our seat back pocket. And speaking of the seat back pocket, it's kind of dangling off there, kind of hanging. So there's a lot of wear and tear on the seat, just very obvious everywhere, lots of wear and tear. So the interior of this cabin is not very well maintained, but that's also just a cosmetics thing with the interior. But as far as the mechanical stuff goes on the outside and everywhere else, very well maintained. We're actually getting ready to get out of here a couple minutes early, if anything. So really the only red flag I'm seeing, I put in quotes, red flag I'm seeing, is just the wear and tear cosmetics inside the cabin. But as far as the seat dimensions go, very standard economy seat. We have 32 inches of pitch for legroom. 1 point on my seat to the same point on the seat in front of me. Standard width and standard recline we got. But yeah, kind of good news is I now have a row to myself. There are some empty seats in the back, and I think my filming kind of annoyed my seatmate enough to want to move. So instead of there being someone in the aisle there, I got an empty row to myself, which is kind of nice. But yeah, since this flight is an hour and 25 minutes, I'm pretty sure they're going to do a meal service. So we'll go ahead and see what that's like once we get airborne. But as mentioned, we are getting ready to get out of here a couple minutes early. So I'll go ahead and catch you guys once we get airborne. Alright, we are airborne out of Edmonton and on our way up to Yellowknife. And man, that 737 Classic wing view outside never gets old. So very nice takeoff and climb out we had, going right past downtown Edmonton on departure. But yeah, the crew is actually just now starting the drink service. So they just started rolling the cart through with the drinks. So as far as I got out of the announcement for the food and beverage service, they are going to be doing complimentary drinks. and that includes alcohol as well. I don't think the alcohol part is complimentary, but yeah, there is alcohol included. And then there's also going to be a meal service as well, if I understood the announcement correctly. There is going to be like a proper meal service, so we're going to go ahead and see what that's all about here in a bit. But yeah, for now, they are coming through with the drink service, and I am charging my phone with the power bank. There isn't any rules or regulations that I heard regarding power banks, so I think we're good regarding that, since there's obviously no NC power. I didn't really get or gather or catch anything regarding the use of power banks, so that's good. Mine's fully charged and charging my phone right now, just sitting in my seat back pocket. So yeah, shortly we will get our drink and meal, and I'll go ahead and report back when we get that. What are the options?
Beef or pierogi?
Beef, yeah. Thank you. Alright, and just about 15 minutes after takeoff, we have received our lunch on board Canadian North, a beef meatloaf dish. So Exhibit A, we got the beef meatloaf itself here. So we got mashed potatoes there on the far right, the beef in the middle, and then carrots there heading away on the left. We got peas and corn here as vegetables, so that's the healthy dish. And for dessert, we got some chocolate fudge, I want to say. Some sort of chocolate in there for dessert. And Exhibit D, to wash it all down, Diet Pepsi here for some soda. So yeah, it looks alright. It's warm. Kinda looks okay. But yeah, let's go ahead and put that beef meatloaf to the taste test. I like it. Honestly, I'm a fan. It definitely has some taste to it. A little bit of spice in the aftertaste. But yeah, it tastes good. Especially since it's still warm. It tastes really good. Yeah, I like it. I approve. Very nice hot meal we got on board Canadian North here. The corn though is actually pretty cold. It still had some taste to it, yeah. Some pretty spicy taste to it, which was good. But the beef though, the main tray was amazing. It was hot, especially with the barbecue sauce and mashed potato combination. It was amazing. Easy pass in my book. But yeah, one thing I will say, which could either be debated as a good thing or a bad thing, is it was just messy with the barbecue sauce there, so I did have to ask for some napkins. I don't love how they didn't give us the napkins by default, since the barbecue sauce would be a bit messy. But yeah, I asked for some, and the crew were very happy to give some to me. But yeah, great food, great meal, easy 10 out of 10. But yeah, that was really the only thing to report on the entire flight, since the seat is pretty bare bone. So for now, up until we hit top of descent and landing, just sit back, relax, and look outside at that beautiful 737 Classic wing view. Alright, welcome to the new review on the Canadian North 737-300 Classic. Yeah, I know, it's clean. Actually, really well maintained. Different from what we have back at the seat, but yeah, very clean overall. Very nice. Standard Lou, got it hot and cold down there. Got the soap, got the paper towels, got the trash, got the TP, got the toilet. But yeah, unlike the seat we got, it's actually pretty clean. Okay, don't love this with the sink, but after using it, if I press one of the buttons, the water pressure is unnecessarily high, so if I put my hand under there, the water is just going to splash onto my clothes, and B, it only goes when I hold the button in, so I really can't wash both hands at a time. Alright, and just like that, after using the lab, we have started our descent down into Yellowknife. Not much at all to report on this flight, apart from doing the meal service right after takeoff, eating the meal, and going up to use the restroom in about just under an hour and a half, and that's really about it, and we're already descending. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest of the flight time on the way in to rate Canadian North using my channel original rating system. I call it the Raleigh rating scale, very creatively named because my first name is Raleigh. If you're new here, I use that scale to rate all of the airlines I fly on at the end of every one of my airline reviews. It has 6 different categories to see how well each airline did at each of the 6. But if you're not new here, guess what? Good job. You made it this far. How do you think Canadian North did today? Well, let's go ahead and land in Yellowknife and find out for ourselves. This service was an 8 out of 10, as the crew did all the essentials with the meal and drinks and were relatively patient with both. The crew member that gave out the meals didn't seem too patient to clarify what they had, but again, that's just one person. I enjoyed how they did everything less than 20 minutes after takeoff and were pretty thorough with it too. The cleanliness was a 5 out of 10, as there were very obvious wear and tear all around the seat. It didn't seem like the interior, or at least the seats, were that well maintained. The general atmosphere in the rest of the cabin was fine, and everything bad was really only at the seats. Debatably, seats in bad conditions are worse, as that's where you'll be spending all your time. The Wi-Fi was a 0 out of 10, as none was available. The food was a 10 out of 10, as the main dish on the flight was the beef and potatoes, and they both tasted great. As mentioned, the barbecue sauce and mashed potatoes worked well together, and even though the corn was cold, it had an alright aftertaste. I just hope this is also reflective of all the other meals. The entertainment was a 0 out of 10, as not that any of it was really expected, but nothing was provided on board to keep us busy. There was no in-seat power, so bring a power bank. There was no Wi-Fi, so download content, and definitely no seatback monitor. There were all the clean windows to look outside of, in hopes of clear skies, like the one we had on the way in. The seat was a 4 out of 10, as it was a very standard economy seat, excluding the entertainment amenities mentioned that would be found on something more modern. The dimensions were fine, and the thickness and cushioning got the job done. The bottom of the seat was just a little low, so the legroom was a little bit restrictive. It was extremely bare bone, and the wear and tear wasn't really helping. Really, all it had going for it were the standard economy seat dimensions. So, the overall rating for the airline is going to be a 4.5 out of 10.
They're all coming. Bye.
Have a good one.
See you.
Bye-bye. Hey, I just have 3 hours here, so I just want to go into town.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Downtown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, we are in downtown Yellowknife on this beautiful afternoon. It's 55 degrees and sunny. I really only have my jacket on because it's a tiny bit breezy. I could very easily go without it, but I just have it on for comfort, for the breeze. But no, it's an absolutely beautiful day to be here. But yeah, my final thoughts on Canadian North today. Pretty much exactly what I expected. Bare bone seats, bare bone cabin. The food was really good, but I think that's about the only thing it had going for it. But yeah, for a 30-year-old 737 Combi, exactly what I expected. No entertainment, bare bone seats, regular economy seat, little torn apart, but it is what it is. But yeah, as it compares to Air Inuit with their 737 Classic out east in Quebec, the food with Air Inuit wasn't as good, if I remember. I just had that potato dish on the 737-200 and that salmon dish heading back on it as well. But I remember that being a little bit colder, and the food on Canadian North today was just a little bit better. So Canadian North has better food, but Air Inuit had more put together seats with less wear and tear. But they're more or less the same. They're still the same standard regular economy seats on both aircrafts, on both airlines. They're pretty much the same. But also with Canadian North, with the seat we had today, that's just one aircraft. On the other 737 Classics or on the ATRs, the seats might be more put together and better. That's just one specific aircraft. And then the same goes with Air Inuit as well. But yeah, they're more or less the same thing. It's really not much surprise. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here and leave you guys with some video footage around town. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the next airline on the next adventure. Bye for now.